Welcome back, and so to our main event this evening, Donovan Boucher against Kirkland Laing for the Commonwealth welterweight title. This, after 16 years as a professional, really could be Laing's last fight. He's, what, 36 now, at least? It could be more. Nobody really knows. He's given us some marvellous moments, but the big one, a world title, has eluded him. It might do so. Laing is finished if he loses tonight. You don't have to take my word for it. Here's his manager, Mickey Duff.
The condition is, if you lose to Boucher, you retire. It is your last fight. And that is a condition to which he has agreed and signed a letter of which I have sent to the Board of Control and retained a copy.
Well, that was easy for me to write that because I know I won't lose, simple as that. I have too much ability, too much know-how, and I've got a lot of discipline for this fight for some reason.
Well, Laing determined to win tonight. He has to. But he also knows his biggest danger isn't always his opponent.
To be honest, nobody beats me because it's more skillful than me, intelligent than me in this boxing ring. They only beat me, I beat myself. And when I really want to do something, I'll do it. Like I want to win, beat Donovan Boucher, I'll do it and prove people wrong on myself. And I tell you what, I think it's time for me to go on and on and on and get what's mine. And now I'm 36, but I don't feel it, and people think, oh, I've heard it all before. But it's a case where I have to just do it now and then say it, because people heard it all before. So I just might have just doing it and then just try to talk about it.
I don't know about you. Donovan Boucher is the Canadian and Commonwealth welterweight champion. Just the latter of those titles on the line tonight. What about this fight against Laing?
From the tape I saw, I know that he's, keeps his hands down low and, he moves around, try to get you off guard, basically, right? That's the only one fight I saw of him, and what I saw of him, he kept his hands down and he tried to, taunt you with his left hand, basically, to get the right hand in. But that's pretty well what I saw of him. But, he's confident, I presume, and he's a veteran when it comes to, the big fights, and he's been here before. I'm sure he fought the likes of Duran and stuff like that, right? So I'm prepared, and I know what I got to do to keep my title. I
mean, don't get me wrong, he's a very, very good fighter. I think Butcher is the classiest fight I'm going to meet for a long, long time. Much better than the usual, like Delroy, Bryan, and so on. Give me class. I'm up against a real test here.
I'm going to have to take the fight to him because, he's a hometown one, and he's got all that backing, and he's got the referee on his side. I guess he's got the, judge, and, no doubt he's a hometown guy, and I got to take it to him, too, if I want to hold my title. I got to take it to him and put the pressure on him, try to get him out of there as soon as possible.
Well, he could have gone shopping, couldn't he, in that car? The long and winding road, it leads where for Laing? Gary Mason can answer that question, perhaps.
Well, I think Kirk has got that thing that a lot of old fighters get who have been in the game a long time, and when their time has come to finish, they just start believe they've just reached there. They just begin to know it all when they can't do it anymore. He knows what to do now, but he just, the body and everything else doesn't enable him to do it. 34 is quite old, and Kirk's been an exceptional
36,
fighter.
he says. It could be older.
Yes, well, yeah, 36. Well, 36 is quite old, regardless, although Kirk hasn't taken that many punches and all that in all his fights and everything else, but he has had a lot of fights, all the training in the gym, what that takes things out of you. And at age 36, the body doesn't react the way it does when it was at 26. So I think Kirk is actually kidding himself, although I'm sure everybody would love to see Kirk win and then maybe stop. But Kirk, he's been a good character for the game.
He'll give it everything, that's for sure. You thought that was Charlie Chaplin, didn't you, with the bag? I didn't dare say it. OK, let's go to Nottingham and enjoy this one.
So we await the arrival of the two boxers in the ring. Kirkland Laing back in Nottingham for the first time in 15 years. This was where he had his early fights. His last fight in Nottingham was against a fellow called Jim Moore, who he stopped in the second round a long, long time ago in 1976. So it's been a long time as we wait now for the boxers to make their entry for this Commonwealth welterweight title fight. Kirkland Laing on his way into the ring, and doesn't he look happy about life? He really is an eccentric character almost, much loved within the fight trade, can be absolutely brilliant on occasions, this fellow. And in my view, in recent years, there has never been a better British boxer who's never had the chance to fight for a world title than this fellow who, in that shy, introverted way of his, calls himself the gifted one. Kirkland Laing in the ring here with his very career on the line. Donovan Boucher, the champion, waits in the wings to make his entrance. Laing being kept waiting for a moment by Boucher. The music swells up in the background, and that means that the champion is on his way. Donovan Boucher, who took this Commonwealth welterweight title here in the British Isles. He went to Motherwell, and he had a very good win indeed over Gary Jacobs, former Young Boxer of the Year, Gary Jacobs. Boucher's a very handy performer indeed. He's a lot younger too than Laing. He's 29. Laing is pushing 37 now. This fellow still has plenty of ambition too. Can be dangerous. He had Jacobs on the floor, and I think here he starts favourite to hold on to his title, Glenn McCrory.
I think he does. Lang's got to do something very, very special, especially at the age he is, and with a couple of losses in his recent fights. He's got to do something very, very special to take the title off Boucher tonight.
Boucher, full record of 24 wins, 3 defeats. He's won 14 inside the distance. He's only been stopped once. We're about to get the official announcements.
Our gentlemen, please. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the second of the joint main events on this evening's programme. National Promotions present a welterweight contest of 12 3-minute rounds at 10 stone 7 pounds for the welterweight championship of the Commonwealth. Presenting in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, formerly from Nottingham, the challenger, Kirkland Laing.
Formerly from Nottingham, because he's been living in Hackney these past few years, but awful lot of support for him still.
Toronto, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, the welterweight champion of the Commonwealth, Donovan Boucher.
Well, Boucher knows he's a long way from Toronto tonight.
After weighing today, Laing scaled 10 stones 5.5 pounds, Boucher 10 stones 6 3/4 pounds. The referee for this contest, Mr. Dave Paris of London. The timekeeper, Mr. Harry Foxall of Stoke.
Referee Dave Paris calls the two men out into the centre of the ring. Now Laing decides to go off for a little walk. He's forgotten to put his gum shield in. It's typical of Kirk's behaviour. And you can see there that he's the taller man as they get their final instructions from this referee. Glenn McCrory, can Laing do it? He's coming off 2 defeats.
It's going to be very, very hard. I don't think he can. Boucher looks very good. He's 29 years of age. He looks in his prime. Laing, I think, is past his best. He's still a very, very good fighter, and he can do amazing things, but I don't think time's run out for Kirkland Laing.
We're about to find out. It's due to go 12 rounds for the Commonwealth welterweight title, and this broadcast going live to Canada to the TSN channel. We welcome viewers there as well. Kirkland Laing with the yellow stripe down his shorts and the little woolen hairpiece as well. Just keeping those Rastafarian locks in place. Laing with his hands low by his side in typical fashion. Feinting, posing. This is a typical Laing start to a fight. Just inviting Boucher in. Boucher will have watched Laing plenty of times in video.
I think it's always hard for a Laing opponent, because really they put off as soon as they start, because they see a guy stand in front of them with his hands right down, feinting shots with his legs, and I think they wonder, you know, what on earth is he doing? But he's very fast, he's got fabulous reflexes, and he can punch, so he can lull them into a little bit of, you know, confidence, and then he can strike.
Those two defeats Laing had for the European title against Patrizio Olivar and then against Delroy Bryan when he lost his British title. That was the first time in his long, long career that he's lost 2 in a row, Laing. And it rather raises the question of whether those reflexes may just be beginning to go a little bit at the age of 36. Laing looking to counter. Lands a couple of times with the jab. Picks Bryan off. Such a classy operator using his reflexes to make Boucher miss almost embarrassingly at times in this first round and then counter him. There's no doubt about it. At his peak, Laing would start a big favourite to make his class tell in a big way against this fellow, but the problems really are concerning age. Is it too late in the day? Has the final whistle already blown for Kirkland Laing?
Laing's doing some nice stuff there, some nice counters coming in, but really Boucher also has the right idea. He's pushing Laing back. He hasn't got to give Laing the balance of his feet to come back with some big shots.
Laing here fighting to prove within the boxing trade and beyond that he still has a future in this game. And he's really jabbing very, very well in this opening round and winning it at the moment, Laing. Caught by the left hook there from the Canadian from Toronto. He's 29 years of age. I suppose one of the questions as well, Glenn, is although Laing has started quite promisingly here, how well will he last? How well will his legs last?
Well, I think that's the big question, because we know he can start well, we know he's fast, we know he could, but it's how the fight goes in the later rounds. I think we've seen against Delroy Bryan that he tired and the reflexes started to go a little bit in the later rounds, which obviously will with his age. But he's still very dangerous early, and Boucher has got to have his guard up and has got to be very careful.
Incredible to think that Kirkland Laing made his professional debut at the age of 1975 when Boucher was a boy of 13. I think you were only about 15 at the time, weren't you?
I was. I certainly was.
I wasn't born, of course. Now, let's have a look at it again. First round, good combination from Laing there. And Boucher just looked a little bit bewildered as they landed. Second round. I gave Laing that opening round. Referee Dave Paris calls them back into action. Boucher getting to work with his left hook quite well at the start of the round there. Kirkland Laing, of course, during his career has been in quite a few famous fights, and perhaps the most famous as far as he's concerned was when he beat the great Roberto Duran in 1982.
That shows the kind of things Kirkland Laing is capable of on his day.
Laing there, swaying out the way of that big left hook and making Boucher miss again. And coming in with that sneak little right thrown from crazy angles. Although Boucher's having his successes with the left hook at the start of this round, and maybe those are shots that a couple of years ago Laing wouldn't have taken.
Something flew out into the crowd there. I think he's losing a piece of his hair.
There's the punch profile from the first round. Laing having the greater success. It's just a little idea we like to give you. Gives you an idea of what punches are landing and what percentage of punches are landing. That'll be flitting onto your screens throughout the contest. Boucher again made to miss with the left hook and caught on the counter by Laing. He's boxing quite well in these first two rounds. Much more positive than he was on the night he lost his British title.
He's boxing very well, and he has caught Boucher with some good shots. But a point you said earlier was that he tends to be getting hit with a few more shots that a few years ago he would have missed. And there's a few good shots he's just caught on his chin, and it's how long in the later rounds can he take them shots.
That's a good body shot from Laing, although Boucher came back well with that left hook. Picked off a couple of times here, the champion. Nice fast hands, Laing still. Then looking for the combination. Didn't quite have the timing in those punches. Laing with those Rastafarian dreadlocks of his, low slung guard, relying on his speed and reflexes and his ability to counter-punch. Doing it quite well at the moment. Boucher's having the occasional success with the left hook. But Laing here has gone back to something like the form he was showing about a year ago. I think he'll be lifted by the fact that he's back in Nottingham, where it all began for him too.
I think that's obviously going to be a plus for him. He's the challenger for Thailand. He's in his home crowd, so in effect he has got an awful lot to gain, put his career back on the road. But it's Boucher looked good in that round. He threw some nice punches.
Good fight here on the boil. 2 rounds gone. Welcome back to Nottingham Commonwealth Welterweight Championship action, live for you here. And Kirkland Laing fighting for his very career, off his stool early, having had the better of the first couple of rounds. Laing with the red waistband around his trunks, both in shades of green. Donovan Boucher, the 29-year-old champion from Canada. Caught Laing with a body shot there. Laing looking to bounce around the edge of the ring there, making Boucher miss by a mile again. He must be frustration itself to fight, I would think, Laing.
A very, very hard style to fight. One of them guys that you don't want to fight because he makes you look bad. He's got his hands down, taunt you, and yet at any moment he can hit you with a very good shot.
Manager Mickey Duff has been very honest about Kirkland Laing on the build-up to this fight. Somebody said, is Laing finished? He said, frankly, I don't know. We'll find out on the night.
As the rounds have gone on, Boucher doesn't seem to have gotten too frustrated. He seems to be, keeping his boxing together now. So 2 nice left hooks there. And he is getting through with some good shots.
And the right cross as well, and now he's starting to catch Laing. This is more worrying for Kirkland. Good body shots, though, coming back from Laing. And this time it's Boucher's turn to look a little aghast. This is a good comeback from Laing. Boucher had his successes right at the start of the round.
Laing certainly fired up. His eyes were blazing there as Boucher caught him with 2 shots, and he came back with some good shots of his own.
Laing, the former British and European champion. Boucher, the reigning Commonwealth champion. It's a good right from Laing on the counter, and that had Boucher looking a bit bemused, but back he comes. There's a little bit of swelling coming up by the left eye of Boucher, just the start of the swelling. And I think it was that right that caused it. It almost swelled up just momentarily as the punch landed right in front of us here.
2 very good right hands, but Boucher took them well and fired back with his own. He's not going to be intimidated by Laing.
This time Boucher goes for the body.
Yes, there's certainly a mouse just under Boucher's left eye.
And I think what's caused it is those insistent jabs of Laing and those occasional rights as well. The cleaner punches so far coming from the challenger, who has big things to prove. Gone, and it's developing into a really fascinating fight here. Now there's Donovan Boucher, like Razor Ruddock, who recently fought Mike Tyson. He was born in Jamaica, moved to Canada. He's been the Canadian champion since 1987. They're just working on that swelling underneath the left eye. Apart from that win over Gary Jacobs, he also beat the much-hyped Canadian amateur star Sean O'Sullivan in the 2nd round in 1988. That was a very good win on his record. Former dishwasher in a Toronto hospital. He doesn't bother with that kind of thing anymore. A bit worried about that swelling, I think.
I think so. It's in quite a bad place. There's the 2 good left hooks that he caught Laing with. But at times he allows Laing to do some good work, and I think this is where Laing catches him with them two good right hands, which caused the swelling under his eye.
Good round, that one. Fairly even as well.
Seconds out, round 4.
Now Laing, if his legs are tired at the age of 36, certainly not showing it so far, as he's quickly off his stool for the 4th round. Remember, it's due to go 12. Kirkland Laing, the Rastafarian dreadlocks, the red waistband around his shorts.
It's a very lively opening, and this is the sort of fight where you wonder, is Laing, if it goes to later rounds, is Laing going to still have the stamina? I think Lang's going to want to try and get over with quick, catch him with a good shot.
I think that's certainly part of Boucher's game plan, to keep on the pressure, make Laing work all the way.
I think he must have thought about that. He must have thought, you know, it could be hard early, but if he keeps working hard, then Lang's bound to tire.
Well, he's getting through with a couple there. Good shots from the Canadian, though Laing picks him off 3-4 times with the jab as well. And that swelling underneath the left eye is nothing serious yet, but could become a factor if Boucher and his corner don't watch out. Oh, left hook there, just caught Laing a little bit off balance. And some of these head punches beginning to land from Boucher. Back comes Laing himself. And every time he lands, this Nottingham crowd get off their seats.
A fabulous round, this one, swinging one way and then the next.
Boucher again, successful twice with the left hook. Laing back with the jab. But again, one has the impression that some of these left hooks Laing might have slipped or skipped away from a year or two back in his career. Counters well with the right. Then body shots. Oh, that's really good work from Boucher. Very impressive cluster. 6 or 7 punches, body and head. Looks a fair fighter.
Very good. That's the mark of a champion, and put punches together like that. Very impressive.
Boucher will have his own world title ambitions if he can get past this little hurdle. Be a good name to get on his record. Back he comes himself. Laing looks dangerous still, working behind his jab, nice and fast, snapping it out into Boucher's face. But Boucher going for the big bombs now. He had Gary Jacobs down, remember, in the 4th round when those two fought. That was on the night that Boucher won the title away from home.
Boucher's strategy this round has been to wait for a little bit, do nothing, and then bust into action with a series of shots.
Got in with another hurtful body shot there, did Boucher, then a right. And he's certainly found the target a lot more consistently in this round, starting to drive the punches through the high-held guard of Laing. And that was a big round for the champion, Donovan Boucher from Toronto.
A very good round. We'll see in Lang's corner. I think he's getting a quick trim of his hair there. He seems to have a problem with having the Rastafarian style come down into his eyes and flopping about, but it must be a distraction.
This is a tough fight for Kirk to take late in his career. Action again from that last round, and it was a terrific round, and Boucher really started to slip into gear here and thumped home some head punches. Laing blocked 1 or 2 of them, but there were some notable successes for the Canadian. Certainly Donovan Boucher, we know from the gym, was working a good deal on the left hook, and that's a punch he's employed to good effect. Looked nice and sharp as well in the gym, did Boucher. Arrived early, and certainly means the business. 5th round. Boucher, the smaller man in the green and gold, and Laing with that red waistband. Sorry, Glenn.
Boucher he'd obviously seen the fight when Laing got stopped with the left hook off Buck Smith. I think, well, that's obviously been a tactic, get that left hand. He's doubling the hook up. At times you wonder about Boucher. At times he stands still and does very little and allows Laing to pick him up with the jabs. And then he puts a lot together and looks very, very good when he puts his shots together.
Cook comes back from Laing, then the jab, but he really, in this round, has got to stop Boucher from hammering home those head punches. Boucher, that was a concerted attack from him in the fourth, and he'll look to build on this on the fifth. He's looking to break Laing up, and again those hooks land, although, to be fair to Laing, his reflexes are so good that he can feint and ride those punches quite well.
His reflexes are very good, but it's a very dangerous thing, and at times it has been the one thing that's came unstuck in Lang's career, the fact that he leans away from punches with his hands down. And on few occasions when he's been ready for a world title shot, he's come unstuck. You know, the likes of Colin Jones, Buck Smith when he leant back. It's a pretty bad problem. The likes of Muhammad Ali could get away with it, but Kirkland Laing throughout his career hasn't managed to.
Well, Lang's little hairpiece holding his Rastafarian locks has come out and is in my hand at this very moment. Give it back at the end. Laing turns Boucher around.
As long as you don't put in your hair, Ian.
I think it'd suit me. Back to the action. Jab again from Laing. He's working well behind that, but Boucher's getting those hooks in. He's really letting them go, and Laing is having to take them. And you do fear that if this goes on this way, Boucher is going to make Laing pay the price. Good body shot though from Laing, and again, then the right, then the left, and now Boucher is having to go backwards. Oh, this is a good rally from Laing. Really throwing in the punches now, crowd are on their feet, urging him forward. Boucher looks a bit rattled, blinks a bit, but bounces back onto the balls of his feet. But that was an impressive burst from Laing at a time when Boucher really was looking to charge himself up for a fierce assault of hooks to the head.
What a tremendous round this is from both guys. Both guys were hurt there.
Great round. And a very, very good Commonwealth welterweight title fight. Kirkland Laing goes back to the corner. He took some big headshots from Boucher in that round, but what a rally he produced to get right back into it towards the end of the round, and he had the Canadian in a bit of trouble. Now, some of that excellent action again. Here are those hooks to the head from Boucher, some landing, some not, some round the back of the head. That right certainly caught Laing. He looked a little bit wobbly, didn't he, as that one landed. Back came Laing. Right, left hook, then another left. And Laing here really digging deep into the locker and taking the fight to the Canadian.
10 seconds. Seconds out, round 6.
Coming up then towards the halfway point in this top-notch Commonwealth title fight here in Nottingham. Donovan Boucher, the champion, Kirkland Laing, the challenger, and Laing took a big left hook.
That whole combination all started there from Laing putting his hand out to touch gloves and Boucher hitting him with a good combination. I think Laing should know by now the time to touch gloves and shake hands when the fight's over.
Stop pushing, says referee Dave Parris to Laing. Hope you're enjoying this at home, both in Britain and in Canada, where it's going out live too. Boucher, pressure, pressure, pressure. Sorry, you were saying?
It's a tremendously hard fight. You've got to wonder what Lang's going to have left in the last few rounds. He's doing very well up to now. He looks very, very fit. Certainly doesn't look a man of 36. Looks in very good shape.
Well, Mickey Duff says he's very young at heart. And remember, he hasn't had a lot of hard fights in his career, Laing. And there's some fights his opponents have hardly laid a glove on him.
That's right.
It's not really years sometimes that wear a fighter. It's the amount of grueling fights they've had along the way.
That's right. A hard fight takes a lot more out of a fighter than several years in the game if he's not getting hit. And for many years, Laing didn't. Very, very fast reflexes.
Still nice and light on his feet, bouncing around the edge of the ring, inviting Boucher in and waiting to counter. That problem by Boucher's left eye doesn't look much worse. There's a hint of a swelling, nothing too much. Blinking a little bit as the jab keeps thudding into his face. Lang here.
It looks as if Lang's trying to take a rest this round. He certainly ceased the action and started to use his feet a little more.
Good tactics, but can he keep them up for the final 6 rounds of the fight? Jab and move. The old hit and run, and it's frustrating Boucher in this round.
It's certainly stopping Boucher getting these combinations on.
See, that's where Boucher likes it, when it's close quarters and he can stand his ground and let go with the hooks. Good round. Welcome back to Nottingham. Kirkland Laing against Donovan Boucher, the champion for the Commonwealth welterweight title. This is the 7th round. Boucher on the right of your picture there, with the yellow waistband, and Laing with the red waistband.
Lang's done very well when he's used the jab. And when he starts like that and flicks it out, it's obviously got to be a good point scorer, because he's thrown it in 2s and 3s, and also it's managing to keep Boucher off balance. So it's an effective weapon for Kirkland.
Good body shot inside there from Laing with the left, and then poking out the jab as well. Back comes Boucher. He's out of range with a couple of jabs, but gets in with 2 more headshots. There can't be a lot in this at this stage. Laing, I reckon, won the first couple of rounds. Boucher had a very big 4th. Everything else has been fairly even.
I think Laing has done, it's very, very close, but I think Lang's done the better work at this minute with his jab, and is maybe slightly ahead. But I think the important part of the fight's going to come in the later stages, when we see who's the fitter and whether Lang's age will catch up with him.
That's good work from Laing. Body shot, then the right into the side of the head of Boucher, walking onto the jab on the way in. Back he comes with the left hook. Really trading punch for punch out there at the moment. Minute to go in this 7th round. Oh, good right from Boucher after the left from Laing, and another. Those were fairly heavy shots, Glenn. They sent the sweat spraying from the head of Laing when they landed.
Very good
and
shot.
Again.
And they're bound to hurt Laing. He's not showing signs of it like that at the moment, but obviously they're taking an effect. When Boucher puts his shots together, he does that very, very well. It's the time that when he doesn't do anything, he tends to have large spells when he just sort of watches Laing and allows Laing to throw jabs. But when he puts his combination together, he looks a very good fighter.
But in this round, Laing is standing in front of Boucher, prepared to trade with him, when he looked rather better on the run, didn't he?
It looked a lot cleaner when he was on the run, when he kept moving. And Boucher looks very confident now. Maybe he can feel that his punches are starting to take a toll, and he can feel Laing slipping away. It gets like that in fights. It might not look like you've got much of a lead, but you can often feel that his punches haven't got the same effect, and it gives you more confidence.
Well, there were 2 really good rights in this round from Boucher, landed close together. That one, which rocked Lang's head back, and I think there was another one not long after, You can see Boucher lining it up, and there, that perhaps didn't land with quite as much force. The two good scoring rights. There's the left hook from Laing, and then again the right coming in from Boucher. And Lang's work, by comparison, well, didn't have quite so much snap about it. Coming up to the 8th round here, Boucher still looks quite fresh, and noticeably when he went back to the corner at the end of that last round, he raised his arms aloft in a gesture of self-confidence. Getting into the stage of the fight, of course, now, Glenn, where Lang's age, if it is going to catch up with him, might do it.
That's right. I think Boucher's got to feel a bit more confident as we go into the later rounds, knowing that at 29 he's got to be in his prime, and that Laing is a little bit older and is coming off 2 losses.
Gloves slung low, still with good hand speed as well, getting his gloves up, breathing a little more heavily now though, the former British and European champion. Always caught with a left hook there from Boucher, and Boucher now starting to unload, gloves getting up there from Laing. Boucher's got him on the ropes. Laing needs to get out of there. He does.
Boucher's certainly starting to pile on the pressure now. I think he feels now his opportunity's coming.
He's beginning to slip less punches, is Laing. And Boucher has a confident look about him at this stage. Laing, of course, can be quite a dangerous puncher himself, noticeably with the right, as Antoine Fernandez found out on the night that Laing won the European title last year. Good headshot from Boucher. Getting his own gloves up quite well at this stage. And the quality shots now are coming from the Canadian.
One thing's for sure, the crowd is certainly getting the money's worth. It's been a tremendous fight.
Just slipped there, Boucher. Put so much into the punch that when he missed, he fell over. Back comes Laing again. Cagily looking to finish the round big, because that's the last thing that the referee scoring it will remember. That's the old pro's trick.
Laing's trying to step up a gear, throw more jabs, put more shots together, but every now and again, you know, Boucher comes in with his own powerful shots and stops Laing.
But whatever happens now, this has been a very respectable performance indeed from Kirkland Laing. He certainly hasn't gone out with a whimper, if indeed he is going to go out at all.
That's right. At this moment, it is still a very, very close fight.
And Laing coming back well in the second half of the round again there, after Boucher had much his own way in the first half of the round.
Laing shows his experience. 30 seconds the better, and that is the thing that you remember. That is the thing that it catches your eye. The crowd remember it, and obviously it has an effect on the referee.
There's the Kirkland Laing corner. Mickey Duff is in there with Denny Mancini, and they're saying to him to keep on concentrating, I'm sure, because that was always a big thing with Laing early in his career. Remember how he really just completely outboxed Colin Jones a couple of times for 8 rounds and got knocked out in the 9th.
That's right. It has been a problem in his career, because at times he is winning that well, and he is very, very gifted, and he gets that much of a lead, he loses concentration.
I remember Terry Lawless used to slap him round the face and shout right up close to his face, concentrate, Kurt, concentrate. And he's coming out now for the 9th round, and the 9th round in those Jones fights was the bad one as far as Laing was concerned. He was knocked out twice in them. Boucher, though, still looking confident, the man who says he's too nice to be a boxer. He could have fooled me in there tonight, Boucher. There's the punch profile from the last round. More punches thrown by Boucher. Better percentage landed by Laing.
Boucher is starting to wind up, at the beginning of this round, starting to wind up some big punches.
Ooh, Laing caught him there with the elbow. He missed with the left, and the elbow caught him Mike Tyson style.
Well, if you get away with it, it's effective.
Good right there from Boucher. If you're expecting to be seeing something else past 10 o'clock on the sports channel, well, we'll be right back to the scheduled programs once this fight finishes. But of course, we're going to stay with this exciting Commonwealth welterweight title fight right through to the end. Laing, good body punch. Laing has got to keep on working, got to keep on scoring, and he does that at this point.
That's the sort of stuff that Laing's got to do. Move around a bit. Don't let Boucher get set on his feet, and then throw a few shots. If Laing has the legs still in him to do that, he could end up getting this fight.
He's caught with another right there. He stopped running for the moment, and every time Boucher gets him at close quarters, Boucher seems to get the better of things. That's a good left hook, and he's got him. Beautiful. He's got him, and that might be the end, not only of the fight, but of Kirkland Laing's career. Kirkland Laing, I don't think he's going to get up. It is all over in the 9th round, which has been such a pivotal round. Looking back on Laing's career, Kirkland Laing is knocked out. Donovan Boucher retains the Commonwealth welterweight title. Laing simply ran out of gas, ran out of legs, was caught with a pinch of a left, and that was good night. And we must hope that Kirkland Laing is okay, because that, I would think, is the end of what has been a distinguished career from a very, very talented boxer, and he was just too old. Well, Laing is on his feet now. He put up a fine performance. He did everything he knew how. But Boucher was too ambitious, too good, and in the end produced a punch to finish it all off. Laing is sitting on a stool out in the middle of the ring. Fine performance from Boucher.
Laing had done very, very well there. I think it's a shame he got knocked out, but that fateful 9th round has went against Kirkland Laing again.
So let's have a look at it again. This was the moment when Kirkland Laing's dreams of winning this Commonwealth title came to an end. He was caught with that left, and Boucher needed no further punch with which to end the entertainment for the evening. Not much of an entertainment for Kirkland Laing. His 49th professional fight back in Nottingham, and almost certainly his last. There was, remember, a clause in the contract which said that if Kirkland Laing lost this one, then he would have to retire, and that was on the insistence of his own manager, Mickey Duff. In a moment, we'll try to grab a word with the leading characters in there. We'll get the ring announcement in a moment of this decision.
Our gentlemen, please. After 2 minutes, 24 seconds of round 9, ladies and gentlemen, the winner on a count out, and still the welterweight champion of the Commonwealth, Donovan Boucher.
Kirkland Laing still sitting on a stool in the centre of the ring. A big hand from the sporting Nottingham crowd. That's good to see.
I'm sure you'll agree, a tremendous contest. Your appreciation, please. A marvellous loser, Kirkland Laing.
Okay, I think what we can do now is Kirkland Laing, with a rueful smile, goes back to his corner. We'll take a break now, and when we come back, we'll have a word with the fighters.
Donovan, many congratulations. Still the champion. That was some fight.
Yes, it was. You know, thanks to Kirkland. He's a great fighter. He's got a lot of tricks in there. You know, I just prepared myself mentally, physically. I knew I was coming in his backyard, and I had to do what I had to do. You know, I want to thank everybody, my entourage, my mother. You know, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't, you know, got here, right? So I'd like to thank her, thank God, and I'd like to thank Mickey Duff for having us over here. It was a pleasure. I'd love to do business with him in the future. No doubt about that.
Was it a little harder than you thought?
Definitely. You know, I was surprised. You know, he's got a lot of tricks. He showed a lot of.
And what about the way it finished? That was some punch.
Well, yes, I've been working on that in the gym. I was working on that punch in the gym there. That long left hook with Chris Amos. It prepared me to, you know, I knew his hand keeps his hand down low, and I wanted to come over top with that left, and it paid off working hard in the gym with Chris and all my entourage, my sparring partner, everybody. I'd like to thank Richmond Hill, Ontario, Canada, for supporting me with the outfit. I'd like to thank Roots Canada. Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, a quick word with Mickey Duff, Kirkland's manager. Obviously a disappointing night for Kirkland.
Very disappointing. I thought he fought superbly. Unfortunately, you can't do it 36, but you can do it 33. And as far as I'm concerned, anyway, he's fought his last fight.
Does he agree with that, though, Mickey?
I don't know, but I think I have good grounds to make him agree, and I think I will influence the British Boxing Board of Control to help me influence him to agree.
Okay, Mickey Duff, thank you very much indeed. A sad night for Kirkland Laing, a good night for Donovan Boucher.
Thank you very much. Thank you.